Might as well let you see some more of it. I think just saw a squirrel up there. This isn't that bad of a thing to do, especially with a path that's beaten. Go down the beaten path, some say. Or at least stay where you can see your area. Wouldn't that be nice? I guess even if this does turn into a long video, it wouldn't be bad letting you see what I like to do. I would like to do more often. Just be out in nature. Even if it is with a device, I can at the very least look around and see all the trees. Camping was a nice thing. Yeah, I know your memories, so yeah. Oh, brighterness? Yeah. Honestly, quite a bit of walking was nice when I was younger. Especially when I was little. Also webs. A bit thick. Brushed. Thorned or not? Yeah. I have thick enough clothes on that as long as I'm not pressing against them too hard, they won't be bad. This is beautiful. Even the songs. Just listen. Apologies if you can't hear them well. Phones can only record so good. And sorry if I'm a bit quiet, just don't want to disturb it all. Well, this beaten path is down, so I'm gonna go back. Good idea. Rocks. I'm actually near my... Whoa, sorry about that. I'm actually by my... At a path near the house I live in. Currently. I probably won't do a face reveal soon, but you can at the very least see what might be near my place. It's not going to dox me, really. I mean, you don't have much info. I did move after quite a few videos. I can't exactly remember when. It was about a year or two ago. Well, moved twice, but the second move wasn't that far compared to where I was originally. At least not much on a map of the state of the Missouri. still general. I mean, the same cities in the area, so a quick drive. Well, that would make it 3 times technically. Once the first time we went to the city, but yeah, that was annoying. Second time went somewhere for a large open field by it and a few sheds nearby. Then we moved to a place where, well, I'm not going to say exactly, but it had this big forest just in the back. Like, and the second place did have a long driveway, but this one technically does have one too. Honestly, I miss the old house I lived in. It was giant. It was a 2-story. Quite big. My little siblings and big siblings in general, big, older, and younger, lived in it actually relatively fine. Sure, not many rooms, but, well, it had quite big rooms. I have a big family. Enough to make time to sleep in certain rooms. My little brother and older brother once shared a room near the bedroom of my mom and dad. Then at one point, my little sister decided to take that room. My older brother went to a downstairs room. Me and my little brother took the room right by my sister's room, which was right by mom and dad's room. There was a big land area I called the landing, which was outside the girls' room, because, well, that was when you got to the second floor. There's more over here. Either way, getting a bit tired. Either way, when going down the stairs, you go into a tiny area called the hallway. It could even be called one. Well, you may not have seen that, but that was a deer. At least most likely. If they didn't come at me. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the hallway there was 3 rooms. One to the right after going down the landing, and there was a door at the hallway. So yeah, the door to the right of going down the stairs was a room connected to the bathroom via a door on the right when entering. So it was, yeah. But if you went straight down the stairs, it went to another room. It was connected to the living room and hallway by 2, like a door and a large area. Anyway, if you went to the dining room, which turning right in the dining room brought you to the living room. The living room was our main entrance, and that's it. Being where a main porch was. You know, like one of those types that you'd go out and sit, you know, like you find in the countryside. Yeah, we did live in the country for a while. Anyway, if you went left you'd find the kitchen. Yeah, sorry. Either way, if you went to the right, you go to the back porch, we called it. Just a small room. And then there was the outside door from there. That was more of a convenience thing. Anyway, going to the left when entering the kitchen brought you to the laundry room, which was connected to the bathroom and a door to the basement. If you went down to the basement door, you'd go down steps, but there was a couple extra steps. Because if you went to the right, after going partway down, there were a couple steps to go up and to a door of the house. We used to leave logs there. I must be scaring some of the nature off, huh? Anyway, we would put wood in that tiny room before the outside. We had a big yard, technically. So, yeah. Like, and even at one point I had a horse named Roni. It did not like kids. Like, it would, unless my dad or uncle were around, or one of my uncles, since the other didn't come down much. And the one I'm talking about did actually live with us for a while. And even worked at a tire shop in the county. Yeah. The horse would be scared of those because the horse knew that those two would probably mess him up or at the very least harm him. I was young back then. Either way, there was also a pond in that little pasture. Either way, there were a couple closets. Like, by the landing, there were two. One my eldest brother slept in. Which, was slanted after going in, so, it was enough for him. And the other one, I'm not really sure, never went in there. There was an attic, but I never really went up there since I'd have to climb about over the railing. Since the stair was closed and behind a door, I assumed that you can realize and it was walled off. And since it was walled on both sides, the railing was to keep people from there. The railing was just on the top. You keep people from falling down. Didn't stop us from sliding a mattress down it. Or me to dumbly slide down on my bum. The last closet was in my parents' room. Which, was just by the window, overlooking the front yard. But we also had a big garage, like, kind of small, but it was big, like, around the size of a small tire shop. Very big. We also had a shed or two, a couple chicken coops, and partway up the driveway, which would go around the side of the house. The side, if you guys did the front, the one going towards the garage. Yeah. If you went, there was a path down to the right, which would lead past another place we used as a chicken coop, and at one point small little hog pen, which was not fun getting the hogs back. And but if you went way up, you'd see a red barn, quite a big one. Yeah, I went up there sometimes, bored. It had a bunch of stuff stored in it. After you open the big door at the front, there was also a couple entrances to the side, but I never really looked at them. Well, I did, I just didn't care. Can't remember what was stored in there, but yeah. Across the road, which was right by the driveway, there was a forest. We went to the right and at one point stopped to go to the left, we could get to a hedge apple tree or something. It was mostly used to keep mice away or spiders, one of those two. We just collect some of the fruit, which was not safe for eating. And yeah. And we just put it down. Not sure what it's called, but it was yellow or green, but very, very wrinkled. We call it hedge apples, though. Either way, on that little road, we were in an area which there was a small strip of hills. Each of the two neighbors in my house would be on top of those small hills. The third one going, if you went to the left after exiting if you went down the road at one point, there would be one where it suddenly just turned before the neighbor. The other one was just on top of the hill and going way back for the driveway. And this was years ago, but I can still remember the house. Either way, the forest on the other side of the road. But behind the house was just a big grassland. And the place me and my family could go to, which was directly by house, even had a little pond. We fished in it a tiny bit. Lots of webs. And going far down this path. At this point, if I wasn't on a beaten path, I'd get lost. Either way, I like the old house. Spacious enough, and yeah. Even if I might be forgetting certain areas, but what can you do? It was just perfect. But this might be nostalgia blinding me. The old house got demolished because it wasn't upkept, but the other areas were fine. I swear, no one took care of that house after me and my family moved out due to situations. The front yard had even a little walkway made of stone slabs and a little stairs going down to the mailbox. Honestly, not a bad area. The ditch. This seems more like a stream now, here. And I think I should go back. Anyway. What happened after that? I shouldn't tell. All I know is that I only started making videos a few years after me and my family moved out of the old house. Hell, I was even told the stories where at another time there were a bunch of there was another house I was with at my family's. A goat that was aggressive, but not enough to kill me. But yeah. I even remember the old dog of the house. And this dog was small, but might as well have been ancient. Sometimes I feel like that, even though I'm not that old yet. The old tiny black and white bushy dog, Casey was his name. Couldn't move because of his age and stuff. I remember him. He'd yip all the time. He'd yip sometimes. Well, whenever he was outside, he'd run over to the car when he got back. Maybe the bus too. Not sure. Can't remember that part. Anyway, there was also a trampoline in the front yard, and ow. Sorry, I'm barefoot under the shoes, so yeah. I normally wear socks out by wearing them too long, so yeah. Let's go, midgets. Let's go. Midgets, let's go. PC Elementary. Sorry, just old school chants of my old school. Whew. Oh boy. I haven't done this much walking in more rugged terrain in a while. Since I can't drive or anything, and since my dad works at where he has to drive around to different hog barns, hopefully this isn't doxing, and he has to stay there for long periods of time. He even used to sleep at them because of how far away they were from the old house and the house we moved in after leaving that big old house. Honestly, I'm pretty sure the house was like 100 years old by the time we moved. They even had a bell right outside the back porch. Getting thirsty. Whew. Anyway, this was a nice area. That place was nice. Honestly, anywhere in the countryside is nice. Whether it be with open fields or dense forests, it's nice. In the suburbs, in the suburbs area, I was more, there was a room that was facing not directly the road, but if you look out the window, you'd see light coming from a car coming from a road. So basically, the room of the house we moved in after the old one, since it was only one story and quite small considering everything, that one room, which I often slept in, with a cousin I do not want to talk about because of certain things he is. That I only figured out a few years ago because my dad and stuff. And, yeah. Anyway, I just see the light often there. And then the next move, Huh? The mushrooms. Sorry. The house we moved to next in the big city wasn't even a house at that point. We only were in a small area, like 3 rooms technically. Like there were 2 entrances, a kitchen of the living room, maybe a small, tiny part of the room that I would sleep in with my dad and little brother, or maybe not even little brother. I gotta tie my shoe. Using my legs. Anyway, then there was a bathroom across from the kitchen. Like, if you went in, if you went in through the door we mostly used, which was up a small step that would lean from the side, you just see the bathroom. But it even had a light on the outside. And to the right was the rest of the rooms. No doors besides the bathroom one. At least I had a shower. There are a couple other areas. Like, technically, well, we did technically live somewhere else, I think. Or no, just help someone move from another one. Anyway, it was my older sister. One of the older sisters I've met quite a bit, because one of the few that actually lived with us at the old house. The others were, well, not really. They were already adults by the time, basically, or living with someone else. Another relative. Don't ask who. Just my dad married only once, but had children before his marriage. Don't ask. It was before the 2000s, so anything could have happened. And he wasn't that old when he had his first children. His first child. I don't think he would have been an adult by today's standards, but what can you do? It was a long time ago. Extremely a long time ago. Anyway, that was like another apartment, but it was basically a death trap if you carried something big up there, almost. Like, wasn't like you're going to die, but it might as well have been, because the stairs to another area, a bigger one, were steeper than hell. Like, steep as hell. Like, they weren't a straight shot up, and they weren't, like, bent back. But it's basically, it was in a tiny room. Like, if you went up a mountain flight of stairs on the outside, they go through a door, there would be more stairs. That were extremely steep. And there was even a room right by it, the bottom of those stairs. But up that stairway, with barely any landing, was a door to the other apartment we looked at, that my older sister might have stayed. It was actually quite big. In fact, a main central hallway with a few rooms. Of course, there was a bathroom, but a kitchen and a bedroom. But there was also an extra true room. Oh, found another house. Anyway, it was a lot bigger. I guess I went past it, thankfully. Anyway, I'm not going to show it, but I will show you a bit. You know, the top. And maybe an old shed. Basically, the house that my little older sister might have moved into was like, I'm not sure, but it was big. enough. Like, way better than the one before that, but we never moved into that. The house we moved into next was bigger than that apartment area, at least. It had a front porch, which wasn't that big, like, but it was big enough. We go in through a door, which we actually began building something, or there was part of something built, like for an extra room, but we never finished it because we moved somewhere else. But yeah, there would technically been a hallway, which was where our room I slept in. It was. My younger brother would sleep on a couch in the living room because, yeah, I slept on a cot. My dad would sleep on a mattress on the floor of a room directly connected to mine and the living room. There was a kitchen and a bathroom with 2 doors going into it. One from my dad's room and one going into the kitchen. Anyway, by the kitchen was a back porch, technically, like the one with the old house. Anyway, then you go outside, blah blah blah. There was even a basement there. Yeah, you'll see a lot of nature because at our place, yeah, this is at our place. And yeah, that shed, yeah, I once saw an armadillo over here. It even touched my shoe. Didn't show you it, but it was nice. Didn't run, didn't bite, just was there, walking along. Yeah, we won't show any more because, yeah, well, I'll show some more. But yeah, I believe this is that area is just behind a bunch of view on other things. That house also had like a small garage, a shed we kept chickens at. We go to a grain silo. Like, it wasn't tall, but it was wide, and we did keep chickens in there, but it wasn't that great. The house we moved into, I ain't gonna dox myself. But yeah, the city house was definitely the worst for my sleep. I mean, we were not there was a big driveway and basically roads on 3 sides. And one of those sides would have a road going into it. Hell, the kitchen had a window going that. Basically, that was hell for my sleep. At least with one of the suburbs. Since I live near a water tower area, which was in a field, if I moved to the living room there, which had a big glass door that you'd push open, that led to the dog yard, we call it, where we just part of area we keep the dogs, which changed a lot since we did have to build quite a bit more than just adding new fences, because of how many dogs that we ended up keeping, breeding, and yeah. Anyway, we did have to change that house a bit. Hell, even the carport, we called it, which was not a garage per se because it was very blocked off, couldn't get a car into, but yeah, it had a tiny shed, but we had to tear that carport down, but the shed was still there. Which, yeah, we started extending the house, but you didn't even go into the carport directly, you'd have to go past a few. There was a small patio to get into the carport, which, if you look to the right after leaving the house via the front door, you'd actually go to a backyard. Yeah. Also, the garage there was big, but had a bunch of shelves, unlike the other one, which, yeah, there was quite a bit of. The things, even piano, I would just randomly play. Just not much, just random tunes. Not even tunes, just random notes. Yeah. Sorry if I'm just keeping you on here, but I don't want to dox my house. But yeah. Well, my current house. Either way, we did have to add a couple rooms, a hallway, and that carport area. And yeah. But the door to the backyard is put there now. So yeah. The shed's still there, which at one point we had a part pulled out to make room for puppies that would be raised. And once they got old enough. Yeah. My my mother's side liked to breed and sell puppies. Anyway, behind the garage, like at the back, the end opposite of the giant door. Yeah, because there was a smaller one, of course, on the side. Anyway, at the back, there was another fence we had. We had a chicken coop built, and yeah, near that chicken coop, like there was a space between the main dog yard and the area. We had another one. Yeah, it's not like we wanted to, well, we did separate the dogs, but sometimes, well, the dogs in the back, in the dog yard well, we did put up things to keep them from getting inside the the actual house. You know, some fencing and stuff. They did, but we had to put center blocks. There was a lot of things. Not much. The dog yard was actually quite big. Might as well have been bigger than the house itself. At least in square, in normal, in like area. But yeah, when having like 10 dogs, about 10 dogs, and most of them being in the dog yard, since yeah, the other two weren't that big. Even that would be a lot. Like bigger than the normal area of the house before the extension. At one point there were even trees near a yard, but yeah. We tore down a chicken coop after a while, and yeah. Anyway, this has been True Dark Dragon Reaper, or The Vessel, and Dark Dragon Reaper, because why not? And we'll see you another time.